Hello and welcome to another episode of 420 Grams here on Newsclick.in. We are, as you know, following the AFC Asian Cup very closely, and I'm pleased to announce that we have a full strength squad for this UAE preview. Arjun Pandit is here, Vaibhav Raghunandan is here, and we also have a substitute bench that we will call on if required, if anyone gets hurt during the recording of this show. We also have joining us Anant Tyagi, who is, of course, covering the tournament for Star Sports in the UAE. So, without
Are we paying
ado,
Anant Tyagi or is he doing this
absolutely
in
not.
kind? He's doing this in kind.
Yeah.
In kind.
We'll give him.
What do you mean in kind?
In kind mean he gets our best wishes no?
Oh, अच्छा.
For a long life.
Gets shout outs.
Yeah.
Talia.
We love you, brother.
Okay. So, Tyagi, how's it going, man? And tell us if the UAE are a little bit jittery after watching India's performance against Thailand the other day.
UAE will be a bit jittery after, I'm guessing, what they must have seen of India against Thailand. There's plenty of pressure on the coach, Alberto Zaccheroni, the Italian who famously led Japan to the Asian Cup title in 2011, but has not had a lot of joy with the UAE. I think they've scored, 10 goals in the 18 games that he's been in charge, so a conservative approach, really. And we've already seen what's happened to the Thai coach after, the loss to India. But UAE have a few issues. Of course, they needed, a bit of a fortuitous penalty from Ahmed Khalil in his 100th international to get them, to salvage a draw and to get them a point. But they're missing their talisman, Omar Abdul Rahman, for sure. Their other players, Ismail Al-Hamadi or Ali Makbouth, are not really firing on all cylinders, and that's something that'll be a bit of a concern for Zaccheroni, whose sides don't usually score a lot of goals. But once again, their focus will be on what India achieved against Thailand, and they will be under pressure because the crowd, which was around 33,000 strong in the first game of the Asian Cup when they played Bahrain, will be expecting something, and they will also be wary of what India produced against Thailand. So UAE will be jittery, and all I can say is that India will be up for the fight because the pressure is off them. They weren't expected to even win a game here. They've already done that. They weren't expected to score many goals. They've already scored 4. So there's only one team under pressure, and that's the hosts.
There you have it, boys. That's the lowdown from the horse's mouth. Your take on how the UAE will line up? Firstly, we've seen them in action against Bahrain. What do you guys make of that opening game, and how do you think they'll do against India?
I mean, the opening game was a real scrappy, highly physical kind of game. And additionally, the penalty that they did manage to equalize through should not have been
Yeah,
given.
I know.
I'm really
There's a
sorry.
dodgy penalty, man. Timing of the penalty.
Yeah, everything. You know, there's
everything was
like
very dodgy. I have a feeling some
earpiece, there was
Emirati
something.
sheikh would have called him up. You know, like, beta, passport मेरे हाथ में है. वापस जाना है तो फिर penalty दो.
Or do you think by giving the penalty, he has managed to accumulate a retirement fund for himself?
Yeah, could be, man. Lots of camels and of course, all that kind of shit. But honestly speaking, when we were talking about UAE and Vaibhav was spot on, and it's understandable it was the first game of a tournament. Sides are always cagey in the way they play, and to be fair, Bahrain came out all guns blazing. They were rattled, man. The UAE was not expecting that from Bahrain by any stretch of the imagination. Now, when we were building up, of course, to the Thailand game and after the Thailand win that India achieved, we had Elko Shatori with us in studio. He is now coach of Northeast United. And what he knows Asian football really well because he's been an analyst. As an analyst, a lot of Dutch coaches are coaching in West Asia, and like our SAF championship, they have the West Asian championships. So that was last year, and he went to analyze for his friends for the opposition for Oman, and one of them was of course UAE, and the main thing that came out of his analysis was that there's that boy in the middle. That boy, you can't miss his hair. He's got that very Guendouzi kind of hair. His name is Omar Abdul Rahman. He was initially ruled out because there were reports that he's injured. But surprise, surprise, he came on in the second half as a substitute. And so Elko said that if you give this boy time and space on the ball, he will call the shots. He is such a good player that he can currently go and get a contract in Europe. It's only purely because Emirati clubs can match what people are getting paid in Europe, and they want their best players to there.
Like, I'm sure Manchester City, the Emirati club, can also match.
No, I don't know about that, man. But my point, no, but Elko was of the opinion that this boy can play in Europe easily. So he's saying if you give him time and space on the ball, he will not only attract players from the opposition, suck them in, and as a result even beat them because he is that good. And if you see videos of him, anyone who's watching this preview right now, write Omar Abdul Rahman on YouTube, you will find millions of them on YouTube, and you will see just what this boy can do. So I asked him, I said, look, when you've got such a good player in the opposition in that number 10 spot where he's calling the shots, would you, being the Indian coach, would you sacrifice one boy and say कि भाई जहाँ भी अब्दुल रहमान जाएगा आपने उसको कोनी मारनी है, आपने उसको मारना है, you are not going to let him function? His answer was a clear and distinct no. He said purely because if I do that, and he's talking with the realities of Indian football, then my formation at the back, I am giving space to the Emirati team, right?
Yeah, you're by taking a player out of the equation, you're giving other players
exactly.
room
I mean,
in
you're
which to
losing your
operate.
player as
You're
well
losing
as
your shape. And if the one thing, if I would say, what is India's strongest point in the Asian Cup? It's how we maintain shape, right? And that is what is getting us through. So he said, you need to cut out his supply line. So you need to cut out the people who are trying to pass to him.
So you mean spending the whole game putting pressure higher up the pitch?
Higher up the pitch. As a result, he's going to go even further back to ask for the ball. And when he's, of course, further back, it's tougher for him to influence the game from as further back as he is. Of course, even then he can influence because he's that good a player. But it's a very simple strategy. Cut out the supply line to the number 10, Omar Abdul Rahman. You don't know if he's going to start the game. But whenever he comes on to the pitch, and if they need him, I think he's going to be used in a way that he will not risk him in the first 90 minutes, or rather in the first 11. But if he sees कि यहाँ पे थोड़ा दाल में थोड़ा गड़बड़ लग रहा है, then he's going to throw him on as his X factor. And that's what he did against Bahrain. And he made quite an impact. Huh?
So the other thing is, if you're doing this high press, like forcing them off the ball, constantly getting into their faces and not letting them play comfortably, that means that we are not going to play much with the ball, which we didn't against Thailand either.
But we're not going to be pressing them. Yeah? I don't think we're going to be pressing them. India, when have we seen us pressing a team? I think we're going to fall back and not give them
defend
space
in
in our own
numbers.
half. Yeah.
Okay.
Not give them space in our own half. Win the ball. And then, of course, when they are a little disoriented, because they are attacking
Catch it
us,
on the counter.
that's when we have to catch them on the counter.
Everyone is fighting fit.
Yeah.
What would be the 11 that you boys would go with? Would you go with the same squad that started against Thailand, or would you make some changes?
Absolutely. I wouldn't make any changes. It's worked beautifully for you versus Thailand. And Ashik, in fact, has given us an option in international football that we've been yearning for in a long, long time. And he's given us, how do I put it? He's given us a more mobile option. We were looking for that option in a Robin Singh. You know, a big, sturdy target man who can hold the ball. And then, of course, your players from the back can come because you'll break on the counter. But the problem with Robin was, of course, injury came at the wrong time and he just never really took off from there. And I hope he, of course, fights back. And he just got married right now, so all the best,
All the
buddy.
best.
Yeah. But Ashik gives you a mobile option.
The only guy who
said
in this
congratulations.
the rest of us are saying all the best. Although the best wishes should go to more to his wife than to him.
Yeah, but no, my point is Ashik gives you that, you know, even when we were watching the game versus Thailand, Elko, Renedy, everyone who was watching it was saying how well this boy is holding on to the ball, the confidence with which he takes it to a corner, the confidence with he, you know, in football, when you play target man, if you hold the ball for 3 seconds, 3 seconds actually is 1, 2, 3. But that 3 seconds makes such a big difference. It opens up space
It
altogether.
allows people to run off, it
Yeah.
allows people to get into positions.
But
Yeah,
remember one
definitely.
thing, that UAE would have seen the full 90 versus Thailand. And they would have kind of assessed, this is how India is playing, this is what they're going to do. I don't think we have a plan B. Let's be honest. Don't think we have a plan B, too many other plans. So we will stick to the same plan. It's worked for us beautifully in Thailand. So why would you not try it versus the UAE? And I think, like we had mentioned in our last episode, where we spoke in the Thailand game, we've got options from the bench, man. We've got boys on the bench who can actually come on and influence the game. Whether it be a JJ, a Balwant, or a Raulin, you know, you've got boys who can actually come on and change the course of the game if something is not working for you. So why would you mend something that's not broken? Simple.
Defensively?
I won't change it. You see, historically, you don't change defenses there. How often do you see substitutions happening in a defense? Only if there's an injury that's happened. Otherwise, your goalkeeper and your back four. And for me, your guy in front of the back four, Haldar, untouchable.
But
would
you maybe
And the guy next to him, Anirudh, and the guy playing
No,
in
no,
front.
no. I mean, वो आपका tactic.
And the guy on the
No,
right.
bro. That आपका tactic के हिसाब से आप कर सकते.
No, would you bring in an extra defender?
No.
Just because maybe you expect.
No,
Because
see,
Anas and Sandesh are both not really very fast.
The biggest mistake you can make in football is if you give the opposition, and we've all played at whatever level, if you give the opposition way too much respect, they will eat you alive. खा जाएंगे. If you're putting in extra defenders in that game versus UAE, then you're giving them too much respect. That means you're giving them a lot of time and, a lot of time on the ball in their own half. You're giving them time to move around, aram se, keep the ball and move ahead. They will eat us alive. I think the four, Haldar and Goli, they are your first 6 names on the sheet. Not even Chhetri for me. These 6 names are your first names on the sheet, and then according to how you want to play, you choose the rest.
So, one question I have for you guys is that it's likely to be a much more physical sort of contest. The UAE boys and then Bahrain to follow are bigger, and by all accounts, including Elko's account, they are bigger, faster, stronger than the Thais, right? What sort of difference will that make in terms of the challenges for India in this game?
I think it depends on how long we last. So in India, say in the Thailand game, our first 11, if you have to put a number on it, I think in totality as an 11, we lasted about 75 minutes. And then you saw कि थोड़े changes मेरे को करने पड़ेंगे because we're getting a few tired legs, right? So in this first 75 minutes, you must have run a certain number of kilometers or whatever. I think versus the UAE, that number could drop a little more.
Because the distance may be...
Depend. So that's my point. If you give them too much respect, तो आप उनको और in return हम और भागेंगे.
But respect or not, the fact is that in terms of possession statistics, and when you don't have the ball in a sport like football, you're always running more, right?
And
Because
we are
you're
definitely
chasing.
going to be chasing the ball in this game.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we're likely to have 1/3 or between 1/3 and a quarter of possession.
That's okay.
I mean, the important thing is what you do with it.
The important thing is how many points you get post the game. Simple सी बात है. हाँ? I mean, मैं कुछ नहीं भागा हूँ पर मैंने जाके एक गोल मार दिया, मुझे 3 पॉइंट मिल गए यार, खत्म कहानी. I mean, right now, India is not at a stage where we can dictate our style of play and say कि we will play like this and we will do that. इतने सालों बाद तो हम पहुँचे हैं. We are scrapping, if I may say, for results. Or we're scrapping or scraping to get out of this group, right? And we put ourselves in the best position
Fantastic
possible.
position. Yeah.
Plus 3 goal difference.
Plus 3 goal difference, 3
3
points.
points.
I mean,
I'm saying even if there is a possibility.
when was the last time anyone remembers, like, if you look at whether you look at the team stats or you look at player stats, India, India on top at a major tournament. So it's massive. The only hope is that they don't get carried away. And they don't assume now that they are approaching every match like you need to win it. I agree.
Now I mean you need 2
is-
points, right, from these 2 games.
No,
1
I don't
point
think.
should do it.
I think even with the 3 points we have right now, what will be crucial is the amount of goals we concede. I think even with the 3 points and we have a good goal difference, we could still go through as one of those 4 best third place teams. I think we're in prime
So
spot.
the
right now.
ideal is to try and get at least a point, or if you can, 2 points from these next 2 games, and put
2
yourself
points
into
is, I
that.
think, too much of wishful
Asking for too
thinking.
much. Okay.
But
We'll come to that in a
point.
minute. We'll come to that in a minute. I think I'll get predictions from you guys. Before that, I want to go to a slightly different angle, which is to do with the fans and the fan support you saw at the stadium.
surprising.
Like you said, there were a few hundred fans, and as the match went on, the stadium did look like it was filling up a bit more. But it was, I think, Sundays are working days in the Gulf. So it was a working day, and kickoff wasn't early enough, I guess, for a lot of people to be able to get off work and come into the stadium. But compared to what happened in 2011, where literally tens of thousands of expat Indians were in the stadium,
Renedy said the same thing.
we didn't have the same kind of atmosphere at
The
all.
next game is on a Thursday at prime time, Gulf time. So maybe there'll be...
Friday being a holiday, maybe
Absolutely, exactly.
there will be that extra excitement. So Prashant is joining us. Prashant is a journalist with the Gulf News based in the UAE. Prashant, why do you think it is that not so many Indians turned up for the game? And do you think now that India have registered a win in the tournament, more people will be enthused to actually buy those tickets and come out and support the team? And if that makes an impact?
Hi, this is ND Prashant from the Gulf News. And yes, Siddharth, we were covering India extensively from the time they landed here. Of course, the victory, after the victory, we will be definitely following them closely. And the next match is with UAE, so it's beyond doubt. So we have to cover that match. Even the Arabic press were covering it extensively. But yes, as far as the fans goes, they didn't turn up in large numbers, but I'm sure nobody expected India to win, and that too by this margin. So definitely they will be running after the tickets. I am not sure whether they would get the tickets online, but since UAE is playing, but definitely more people would try to get into the stadium for the next match. Hopefully it is going to be a cracker of a game.
Cheers, Prashant. Thanks for that. Yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll catch up with you later on in the tournament. Any reactions?
Yeah, bro. I was also talking to Anant, who is based in Abu Dhabi right now. So he told me of the three venues. There's Abu Dhabi, there's Dubai, and there's Sharjah. The one place that doesn't have massive Indian diaspora is Abu Dhabi. If that game would have been happening in Dubai, and of course keeping in mind what you said, that it was happening during working hours and it was a working day, like keep in mind our last game is in Sharjah.
What is this Sharjah?
Sharjah, बड़ी special जगह है historically.
छोटी जगह है?
बहुत ही special जगह है, but आप वहाँ पे देखना, वहाँ पे भरेगा. Because historically, you know, we have a huge diaspora there. A lot of people are going to be coming. Not just Indians, there's Pakistanis, there's Bangladeshis. All of them come together as one. And I have a feeling that third game will see our biggest turnout. Because in this game, I think the Emiratis will take over. They will take over.
As we saw in the opener, I think there
Yeah.
was a very strong sort of Emirati crowd there, and that will put a little bit more pressure on the Indians as well.
I'm actually thinking that will put more pressure on the UAE because they need to get 3 points from this, and they're playing at home and they're playing against.
Yeah, for a home team, they say,
you know, there is like, I mean, it goes both ways.
Yeah,
perhaps at penalty of flogging.
No, the maximum, they've always said, the maximum pressure for a home side is when there's complete silence. That is when there's maximum pressure. So, jitna India can keep them quiet, the pressure will build on the UAE, and just the fact that they're the hosts, that will add to it. And of course, they're expected to qualify. They're expecting to win this tournament. Those are their aims. So,
yeah, when you're hosts and you have a strong squad, I guess that would be the aim.
And you have a former winning coach as your coach.
Yeah, 2011, Zaccheroni took Japan. So, yeah.
So lots of experience in the squad, both like in terms of the backroom staff, the coach, as well as the players themselves. To wind up, guys, predictions from you for the game?
Alphabetically. Oh. Damn.
Yeah, bro, I'll tell you why. Because see, Thailand was such a positive result, yeah. But I don't know, yeah. I think we'll lose. I think so. Because I'm basing
Are you going to hazard a scoreline? Fine, you think we're going to lose, that's good enough.
Yeah, I don't know scoreline, but I think the physicality, the pace, the intensity, the fluidity which they were playing in that game versus Bahrain, I feel हमारे पत्ते show होंगे in the second game. So,
Scoreline?
I don't think too many goals in this game. 2-0 or something like that.
That's actually the thing. I mean, that may actually help, which is I'm going similar. I'm actually going for a 1-0 simply because they don't score too many goals, and it'll help if it's a.
Yeah, as any Indian fan who's watching this, if your team is losing, don't lose hope. Keep an eye on that goal difference column as well, because that goal difference column could make a big difference if your team makes it out of the group stages or not.
Fair enough. There you have it from the experts themselves.
Vote for.
Let's hope. We were wrong about Thailand, and we've never been so pleased to be wrong about anything in our lives before. We were wrong about Thailand. Let's hope that you're both wrong again.
If we are wrong again,
squarely in the middle of the fence.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything. I think it's very hard for us. It will be very difficult for India to get a win out of this game for sure. I hope to see a goal again. That's my only hope.
If we go wrong again, then we should ask the Indian team to sponsor us to make wrong predictions for the rest of the tournament.
Done. And we'll also open it up to you guys watching, because if they are wrong again, you can write into us and tell us what you would like us to do with Weber's facial hair.
And if you're as good looking as us, you can come on the show.
If
I
being the
know.
key point there.
Tough.
हाँ? ऐसे बाल किसके पास होते हैं?
Anyway.
All right. On that slightly random note, we're going to wind this up, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you guys for being here. And
catch
let's
up
hope
again
we
now.
can keep the momentum going through the tournament.
Yeah.
We'll be back for a sort of post show after the UAE game. So I hope you'll join us again. Thanks for watching.